All right. Once again, good evening, everyone, and you're welcome again to class today. All right. So to know that you can hear me and you're listening, kindly put your reactions, send a text in the chat box. Let's know that we're together on the same page. All right. So we learned quite some. I believe my screen is also visible. All right. So we learned some things yesterday or day before. So our first class, we were introduced to Excel. So I'll just do a brief recap. I believe everyone was in that class, saw what happened, and today we're just going to make progress on that. So before our teacher comes on board today, just remind us that we were shown the ribbons, which is where we pick all the functions of the things we do in Excel, right? For instance, from your home button, you have where you can paste, copy, where you can choose your font style, where you can choose your font size. You can style it, either you want it bold, italics, underlined. Yeah, where you can do even conditional formatting and most of those things, as you can see. So for me not to take longer than necessary in this recap, I won't go to any of them deeply so that our teacher can continue from where we left off on Monday. All right, so what we have here presently is this, that basically on your home button, on the ribbon, you can actually determine how you want anything you're doing at all to display. The text style, how you want it formatted, if you are putting image, how you want to wrap your text. All of those things, to a large extent, the kind of general part of the Microsoft Office, which if you go to Microsoft Word, you are going to find things like this, right? But when you start to come to the general, that's where you determine what the column looks like. You know, from the general, you can determine what the column should be. So for this particular column, you're talking about price, so I can decide to take it out of general and bring it to currency. Yeah. So that way the currency will be in front, but you can also format it further and choose the kind of currency. So to do that, you go to more numbers format. I want to believe you still can see my screen clearly. More numbers format, you click on that, then it helps you to choose. And if you choose currency again, you can then choose which of the currency. You can decide to show a symbol in front, you can decide not to. You can decide to put it in decimal places, you can decide not to, right? And then in choosing your currency, you can determine the currency you're dealing with. So if you're dealing with the US dollar, you're good to keep it that way. But if you are dealing in Naira, in any currency at all you have to do is to check this place and you'll be able to find it. I hope that makes sense. All right. So I'll take us back. Now just do, oh yeah. So basically, I also want to assume when you do something and you want to undo it, I believe we also know. And if you don't know, with a simple Control Z or Command Z, depending on what system you are using, you can undo whatever it is you have done. All right, that's the ribbon. That's on the side of choosing what format your column is. Then from there, you can choose you want it to display in a particular currency, in a percentage, or you want it to give you a comma style, all of those things that you want. So we have conditional formatting, which was talked about. If you want to design your table, you want to design your cell, all of that is also allowed when you're dealing with Excel. That is, you have the freedom to style everything just the way you want it. You can do what you like on Excel. So you can format a table, you can format a cell, right? Okay, so you can also insert, you can delete, you can format, that is, design it the way you want. And these are also shortcuts to some of the functions you learned on Monday. For instance, you want to add up a particular column. Here is some here. If you can see my cursor, if you click on it, it will give you options of what you want. If you want to sum it up, if you want to find average, if you want to just count the numbers, or you want to find the maximum number there or the minimum there. If you want more functions, all you have to do is to click this. Yeah. So if you want to fill up a column, here is the answer. If you want to erase, here is also where you can do that. Filter. You want to sort and filter, here are the options that you have. Okay, this is where it gets interesting also. If you want to, at any point in time, let's say you have a big table and you want to find and select, probably it's a big table and you want to find a particular number which you find to be wrong, and now you know the right thing to do. Now you know the right thing to do, you know the right number there, and you want to replace it. Here is where you can do that. You can find a particular number and replace it with the right number or with the right value for that column. So all of that can happen in Excel. Okay, so let's go to the dedicated part of the ribbon, which allows you to do a lot of things extensively. For instance, the insert button. That's where you get everything you want to insert. Anything that is not, that does not directly come with your table, you are the one who want to put it because you need it to be there. And you can insert pivot table, any kind. It could be recommended pivot table, it could be one that you just want to create. You can insert another table in the already existing table. You can insert forms in your table. You can insert pictures, shapes, all kinds of shapes, 3D art, and all sorts of things. Okay, if you also want to introduce or insert charts, you also can do that, be it pie chart, any form of chart you can insert at this point. Right. What again do we have there? We have charts. You can also insert maps, pivot charts. All of those, you will know the differences as we go on in this course. Basically, everything you see here, you can insert. You can also insert equations. And when you insert equations, this is actually different from your conditional formatting and DAX. So there is a part of Excel where we talk about DAX queries. So that's also different. So you can also insert equation. There's a lot of things you can insert symbol. There is so much you can do with Excel. All right. So that's on insert. All of these things here, they help you to make more sense of your data, of your table. All right. So how about if you want to draw? Let's say after you've designed your dashboard or you made your visual, there is need for you to do some drawing. Either you want to draw manually or you will just want to pick a selected shape. But at this point, you are allowed to do what you like. That is to draw, to design the way you like. How about page layout? How do you want your page to be? All of that are there. And I'm not staying on them because to a large extent, a part of them you may not necessarily need as you go on. But eventually, it only makes sense that you become aware of them as they will be useful as we go on. How about formulas? all kinds of formulas can be inserted, because Excel is not only useful for addressing tables or creating charts. It's useful for a lot of things, a lot of calculations, a lot of things that may not necessarily be charts and dashboards can be used to solve even advanced calculations. And that's why all of these are here. So even if you want to do math and trigonometry, all of them are there. Date and time, text, you want to do something logical, you know that particular topic in math. You want to do your financials, all of those things are here. All of them have formulas. And interesting part, it also allows you to create your own formula, which you can then subsequently use for whatever thing you want to do. Okay. So you can trace us, you can trace what you've done before. You can trace what we call precedence, dependence. You can, in fact, it's a whole lot. But as much as is relevant to this course, you are going to come across as we go on. I'm going through all of this as a way of doing a recap of what happened on Monday, and at the same time, help us to see how much capability is locked up in Excel. That is, even as a data analyst, if all you can do successfully is to use Excel, you very much still have your space in the data world. All right. So you have calculation options. You can calculate now. You can calculate a whole sheet. You can calculate just a few rows, and all of that are there. How about your data? Depending on the data you have on your table or your range, you can have queries and connections. You can do basically all sorts of things as they are there. So under your data, you can sort your data. You can filter your data. You can flash fill, you can remove duplicates, you can validate your data, you can consolidate, and then you can do what we call what if analysis. All of that, I believe we'll be able to touch as we go on. All right. Okay, someone is saying they can barely hear me. How many of us can hear me clearly?
Well, the network is very poor. Where your voice is just cracking, and we're not seeing the display on the screen.
Really? Is that true for everybody?
I
No,
can
that's
hear
not
you
true.
clearly.
That's not true for everybody. I can hear you clearly, actually.
All right, and you can see my screen also.
Yes, you've been loud and clear since. I think it's a personal issue from his side.
Okay, okay. Thank you. All right, thank you. Please try and check your network for better vision and audio. Okay. So for the things that you want to do with your data, you have, once you come under the data session or your ribbon, you have access to a whole lot of functions of the things you can do with your data. Either you want to, in fact, Excel is designed in such a way that it can handle almost any data you give it. And when I say any data, I mean either you're talking finances, either you're talking about your operations, or you're talking about currencies, or you're talking about stock markets, health issues, all of those things, as long as it's a data, is something that has a test, something that you can do, Excel can handle it for you. Now, at this point, I will tell you, and I just want you to Google check or fact check this. One major limit on Excel is that it can only handle about 1,045 entries. That is, please, somebody should check that and confirm. Once your data size goes beyond 1,045 rows, your Excel will not be able to function properly handling that data. And that's like the major reason why there is need for other tools outside of Excel. Okay, it's the reason why we now have to look for find a way to use Python to do data analysis, how to find a way to use Power BI, find a way to use some other tools. But basically, other than that limitation, almost every other thing you want to do with Excel, Excel can do for you. Oh, thank you. A limit of 1,048,576 rows and 16,384 columns. All right. And there is one thing there for you to note, that if your data is not that big, it means with Excel, you can still be successful as a data analyst. Meaning, if you get Excel properly, and I can tell you confidently that very few businesses have such big data that their columns exceed 16,384 columns and their rows exceed 1,048,576 rows. So what does that tell you? It tells you that if you don't know Excel, it doesn't stop you from being a data analyst. If all you can use proficiently is Excel, you can still as much be proud to say that you are a data analyst. All right, back to where we were. So when you come under the data section, you see all sorts of things you can do, some of which we are going to go through during the period of this call or this class. All right, if you want to review, you want to check the things you've done. You want to check your spelling, check if your English is right, workbook statistics. You want to check accessibility, or you want to translate, new comment, all sorts of things, just like a second check on what you've done. You come under the review and then you give it you check whatever you're looking for, and then you can track whatever it is you need to correct. Okay, how about view? View is where you check how this will actually display. Okay, how about your headings, your grid line, your formula bars, your page view break, page layout? All of those things are just part of the things that happen, right? And I'm taking us through all of that for us to see that there is actually so much you can do with Excel. And if all you have done in time past is just to do what is called data entry, that status is about to change. Now you move further and move forward. Now you can become an advanced Excel user. You no longer just enter data henceforth, you do analysis. All right. So as not to take much of our time, with all that you've learned on Monday and all that and the reviews or recap today, I believe you're ready for today's class. So I'll make welcome Mr. Roberts for today's class. Kindly pay attention, engage as much as possible, and let's do this together. Mr. Robert.
Yes.
You have the floor.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Director, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to day 2 of our Excel functions and Excel and Google Sheets. I want to share my screen. I'll be sharing my screen so that we move together. Today, we are going to handle data cleaning and Excel functions. Data cleaning and Excel functions. As you have learned from the recap, is that Excel is a very fundamental tool for data analysis. Even if you go to those other tools such as Power BI or Tableau, at some point you will refer back to Excel, either to model your data, to clean it, or sometimes even to rearrange it so that you can now load it into those business intelligence tools. So Excel is very powerful. And therefore, for you to become complete, other than just data entry, you also need to know how to do data cleaning and also some basic functions that you may use to clean and also to wrangle your data. Mr. David has taken us through a recap of what we did the day before yesterday. And today, as I have said, we are going to look at the data cleaning techniques. And on data cleaning techniques, why data cleaning techniques? We want to explore common data quality issues and strategies so that our data can be clean, can be the one that we want to use while doing our data analysis, is the one that will give us what we are looking for from the data. Remember, we are doing what we call, we want to have an insight from the data. We want to do an informed decision. So we need a very accurate data, and we don't want to fix our data in such a way that it is like it lies towards us. No, we want to fix that data to give a true picture of what is happening, the real world. And there are clear goals for cleaning data. One is to understand data quality issues. We want to identify and categorize common problems like missing values, duplicates, and outliers in our data. Then thereafter, we want to learn the tools that we will use, including formula that we will use to do that data cleaning. Now, when we talk about, let's go back a bit. When we talk about data cleaning qualities, I want us to mention a few of them. Actually, there are 7. There are 7 data quality. I want to look at them for the benefit of those who are taking note. Number 1, we want to look at the accuracy of our data. How well that data represents the real world. Number 2, we want to look at completeness of that data, whether the data has all the values required. For instance, you are capturing a data, or a data entry clerk captured data and happened to capture data or an entry for a female or a male otherwise. Say John Doe was captured as female. Now, is that, or maybe he was not given a gender. We do not know whether John Doe is a male or a female. And that column must be complete for us to know how many males, how many female are in that institution, are our customers. How many customers do we have male? How many female customers do we have? So such is data incomplete. And therefore, we need to look at data completeness. Number 3, consistency. Whether our data is represented the same way all through. For example, the case of gender. You may find a data clerk entry captured male as male, the word male. Then thereafter captured the second male as M, and again captured the same male, another male as lowercase male. when we do an analysis, or when we use that data in that form to do an analysis, we will realize that we have different categories. We have male, we have M, and then we have male lowercase. And therefore, we may not get the right information. Number 4, uniqueness. The data does not have duplicate values, especially where you're handling data that have a unique entry, such as customer ID, product ID, user ID. Such entries ought to be very unique, so that they may help us to identify who is that and when. And therefore, to avoid such, we need to have a unique data, and that one we'll call it duplicates. And there is a way we remove duplicates. Number 5 is timelessness. That our data is up to date and available when needed. Available when needed. Is up to date and available when needed. Number 6 is relevance. How relevant is our data? It should be appropriate and useful for its intended purpose. If we, for instance, if we capture data today, this data will be relevant to help us to know tomorrow, because it is relevant and up to date. But we cannot use the data for last year but one, and use and say this is the data that we have, and we will use this data to predict tomorrow. It might be outdated. Things have changed between yesterday and today. And finally, we have the validity. The data conforms to the defined rules and the parameters. For example, we cannot have in a column of gender, we don't expect to have a gender called MF, M/F. That's not valid. There's no way we can have one person having gender MF, M/F. It's either F or M. So those are the data quality issues that we ought to look into when we are doing data cleaning. Now, after we have considered those data quality issues, now we need to know what are these common data cleaning techniques. Now that we have mentioned the data quality issues, this one, we have several data cleaning techniques that we can use. One is handling missing data or handling missing values. Mostly, let's call it data. Now, you may find data that has missing information. While capturing the data, maybe there wasn't information about gender to John Doe, and therefore the data clerk could not guess. He skipped or she skipped. There was an issue of age. She skipped or he skipped. And therefore, when we'll be doing our cleaning, we realize that we have quite several entries that have missing values. So how do we handle that? There are several ways. Number one, we may do deletion. If we find that we cannot get anywhere information about those few entries that have missing, and it will not affect, statistically it will not affect our analysis, then we can just delete. But before you delete, you need to consider, will it affect my data? What is the proportion of that data with missing values? Is there any other way I can fill in the missing values? Either you refer to the database or you refer to the questionnaires. Number two is imputation. That is filling those missing values with, for instance, mean, mode, or median. It depends. If it is about age, and we are having a missing age, maybe a few of them, but the rest of them of the entries lies between 20 and 50, then it is obvious that this one also lies between the same. And therefore we can say, let's look at those who, the model value, the one that has repeated itself much, it could be one of them. Or let's have an average. Or let's look at the middlemost value. And then from the statistical knowledge, you replace. We have flagging. We can flag them off and come back to work on them later. Number two is removing duplicates, which we have talked about, where especially where we have the unique, this one brings about uniqueness of our data, especially where you have the uniform entry, like the custom ID, index number, metric numbers. It is those that are very unique, personalized, one person, one ID number. Then you can use the remove duplicate function, and you'll have removed those duplicates. We'll be looking at that in our practical part of it. Then we have standardization. You ought to standardize your data. Now, standardization brings about consistency of our data. For example, the data entry clerk may capture, maybe while capturing the name of a country, it may decide to capture, one data entry may decide to capture the name of a country as NG, the short form of Nigeria, for example. The other one writes the whole name, Nigeria. The other one writes a short form of it, Niger. All those refers to the same one and the same nation or country. And therefore, if we use that data in that form, then it means we will have different outcome from those names. To standardize that, we need to decide, are we going with NG, Niger, or Nigeria? Let's go with Nigeria. Then the rest are standardized to Nigeria. We have a function for that to make that work easy. Another common data cleaning technique is detecting outliers, and we have it here. This is about missing values. Missing values. You may have missing values. Not applicable, not applicable, not applicable. Then you ought to know how will you handle that, and we have just discussed about it. You may have duplicate values. For example, you can see in our image here, we have this book here and another book that is very similar to it. And now you may be told, count how many books do we have? Different books. And someone will count 1, 2, and 3. Yes, there are 3, but this and this one is the same. We were talking about outliers. When you look at our table here, you may find a value that is far away from the other values, or far below from the other values. Your limit is about 30, but you find a value far beyond 30, or your lower limit is 0 and you find a value negative. Those ones, we call them outliers. If they don't lie within your limits, then we may refer them to as outliers. Data points that significantly deviates from the majority is what we call the outliers. So we ought to identify, for instance, I will give you an example, the age. You are doing a survey or a survey, and it happens that the data entry clerks captures an age, say an age in a high school. You are doing a survey in a high school, and one of the key information you are looking for is age, and it happens that your data entry clerk captures an age like we know that high school the maximum age for a high school student or learner is about, say, 25, and you get a 55. Now you wonder, 55 is far beyond. That is an outlier. Or someone gives you an age, instead of capturing 20, it captures or she captures 2. That's an age far below your limit. Those are outliers. And then inconsistency. This is what we were talking about, inconsistency. When you look at this table here, this column here, we have values 4.85, 600, 100, 3.1206. Now you wonder, how many decimals are we considering? And how is our data consistent? If we have to work with the decimals, then let's have a common decimal number. If it is 2, all the values have 2 decimal places. If it is 0 decimal places, let's all our values have decimal places. We have talked about data validation, where we look at, we validate our data. We make sure that our data is valid, it's a true information of what is in the real world. For instance, age. We cannot have an age beyond a certain limit, a certain, say, 150, 120, 130. That would be beyond what we expect. We cannot have an age, negative age. So those are some of the common data cleaning techniques that we need to use, or we use: handling missing values, removing duplicates, standardizing our data, detecting outliers, data validation, and the data type conversion. We were shown how to convert our data either into currencies, into dates, short dates, long dates, conversion such as decimal places, where you have decimal places. We can do that. Those are data conversions. And then as we had said, we also have handling inconsistency, the one that we have just here, the one that we have just talked about a few minutes ago. So those are the common data cleaning. Now, what are the tools? What are the tools? Your data cleaning toolkits in Excel and the Google Sheet for removing duplicates is found on the data tab. So I want us to have a look at that, because we will be referring to this, and then we look at our data. So let's refer to our data. I believe you can see my data here. Is it visible? Hello, confirm that you can see my. Yes. Thank you.
Yes,
All right. Thank you. So, want to get into our sample Excel data, customer day 2, and this is what we were referring to as a unique entries. And this is where we were to look at, do we have duplicates? And one of the best way to check for your duplicates is using the conditional formatting first. You need to check before you remove. so that you don't remove what you didn't intend to remove. So let's check. How do we check? Go to conditional. We are under home. Go to conditional formatting. Under the first entry there, highlight cells rules that have duplicate values and pick any color. So let's stick with that color. Now, whatever has been highlighted, that one, this one, and that one, and also another one here, are duplicate values. You can see this is 105. This is 105. Let's confirm whether it is the same person. Michael Brown. Michael Brown. This is Mary Smith. Mary Smith. So those are duplicates. We want to retain one for each of them. Now that is where now we have to we will go to the data tab, and under data tab, keeping the column selected, we go to remove duplicates. Delete duplicates rows from that column. So we will click on that, and then it will prompt you to choose whether you want to expand the selection or you want to continue with the current selection. What is the difference between the two? The first one, when you expand the selection, it means that whatever will be deleted for Michael Brown, the 105, Michael Brown and the user, the email address and the phone and the area, the region, and the last purchase will be deleted, all of them. That row will be deleted. But if I continue with the current selection, it means I will only delete on that particular column. But Michael Brown and the other entries within that particular row will remain. And therefore, Michael Brown will take a new customer ID, which we do not intend it to happen. And therefore, the best option here is to expand the selection and then remove the duplicates. So this one also gives me another prompt before I do it. It requests me to unselect. Do you want to select all or unselect? Let me unselect and only select. I am doing that on customer ID only. And then click on OK. And you can see the prompt is 2 duplicate values found and removed. And therefore, we are left with 20 unique values, 20 unique value remain. Now, if I check again for duplicates, I won't find any. Check for duplicates, and there is nothing. There's nothing. So my data is very unique. The entries in my data, there are no repetition. There are no duplicates. The second one is finding and replacing. Oh, sorry. Finding and replacing. This one here. Find and replace. So let's go back again to our data. We want to find and replace. And we want to standardize our data. We want to standardize our data. The best tool for standardizing our data is replacing. Remember, I gave you an example where you may come across a name such as NG, Niger, Nigeria. Now, you want to remain with one unique name for those regions, and therefore it will be Nigeria. So NG and Niger will be replaced with Nigeria. That is what we want us to do. So how do we replace? We will go to the column that we want to replace, what we want to replace. Actually, what you want to replace, this is the column I want us to replace some of the entries. If we look at the north, let me filter out north so that we can see it clearly. If we look at north, we have north with the first letter, the character as upper and the rest lowercase. And then we have north with all the characters uppercase. And we also have another north with all the characters lowercase. This data is not consistent, and therefore we want to standardize it. Let's go by that north, where the first character is the only uppercase character is the first character. The rest are lowercase. So we want to replace all the others as the first one here. Therefore, this is what we are going to replace. And therefore, we'll go here, find and replace. So what are we replacing? We are replacing north with north. Oh, sorry, with north. That one. And now you can replace all. So let's replace all. And you can see all done. We made 7 replacements. So I'll click replace. And I'm done. I'm done with the replacement. Let's check whether we have anything else. So I think we had another one. We had another one. Yeah, we had west. So let's do for west together. So I'll go to find and replace. Then west and replace it with and replace all. And we have made 3 replacements. So you can imagine if I had a very large data, then I would have done that work in a minute, in a second, and that I've standardized my work. So that is how you can standardize your work. We have text column. Text column efficiently splits a single column of text into multiple columns based on delimiters like commas or spaces, Now, at some point, you may have data whereby you need to capture maybe you have the first name and the surname. But during the data entry, both of them were captured under one column. They were captured under the one column. But now you have found yourself, you want to use the surname, for instance, in your analysis, instead of using the full name as it is. How do you split such? So we have a tool for that. So let's split full name into 2, John and Miller, in separate columns. So how do we go about that? Now we go to data tab, and under data tab we have text to column. Split a single column or text into multiple columns. So we will click on it, and then it takes us to that window. And now we want our full name to split. We will check on delimited. Characters such as commas or tabs separates each field. Yes, that's what we want. Next. Now, what separates the 2 names, John and Miller, Emma and Jones? It is a space. We have a space in between them. If it is a comma, then it will say it's a comma. If it's a /, for instance, suppose we had a /, we'll put it here and we put it that way. If it was an ampersand, for example, that one. So, but in our case, it's a space. It was a space in between the names. Then we move next. And in fact, at this point, after you have seen the preview, you can finish. There you go. And now you can rename this as first name and surname, for instance. That simple. That's another way of cleaning your data, putting your data in a shape, in a good shape, ready for analysis. Filtering and sorting. Filtering and sorting. Organize and isolate specific data segments to identify and address quality issues. In our data, we may decide to filter and sort. And most of the times you start with filter and then you sort. For example, we want to find all those customers that fall in the southern region or the northern region. Yes, let's work with the northern region. All those customers who fall in the northern region. So we will, using the filter, and this is how we insert the filter. Okay, let me undo. So this is how we insert the filter. On the header row, you select the header row from your left on the headings. Then after you have selected your header row, you click on filter. Filter is found on data tab. You click on it. Or while at home, you can use this one, filter. So after you have inserted filter, you will know that you have inserted filter if you see these drop down arrows, this one here, this one here. Then now we go to region and filter and retain only the north. All those are our customers from the north region. Now, I wanted to know how from the best customer in terms of last purchase in the order of largest to smallest. So that is what we now refer to filter. I want to filter these values, last purchase from largest to smallest, so that I may know who is my best customer and who is my least best customer. So I will sort that. You can do it from here, home, and then sort and filter, and then sort largest to smallest. Now again, we have that prompt, and I want to check whether we got the other one, the first one we had. Am I going to expand the selection, or am I going to continue with the current selection? Kindly unmute and share with me. Hello. Kindly unmute and share with me.
Yeah.
Continue with the current selection.
All right. Thank you. Someone else?
I'm listening, sir. You can continue, sir. You can go ahead.
Which one did you give? What was your answer? What was your answer? Do I continue or expand?
Okay. Expand. No,
Expand.
continue.
Continue.
Is it going to expand?
Right. It's good to try. Right. Let me explain again.
Okay.
That whenever I want to move, for example, we have David Johnson. Customer ID is 1007, whose last purchase was 50. I want that value 50 to move where it's supposed to be in terms of larger to smallest. It should still belong to David Johnson after moving. So I want David Johnson to move with everything within that row to where 50 will fall, right? Therefore, to do that, I will expand the selection. But let me do a continue with, I want you to mark David Johnson, where 1007 is, and then I click on continue and see what happens. So David Johnson has retained his position, but we have assigned him wrong last purchase data. That is when you continue with the selection. And therefore, that one we have not done credible data cleaning. You have misplaced information. You have assigned David Johnson what it does not deserve. And therefore, that's why we are supposed to use sort, expand the selection. Now I want you to mark where David Johnson will go, like that. So David Johnson has moved the 2 rows down. That is where 50 belongs. And you can see the rest have tied. So David Johnson, Sophia, Mary, Michael have the same value, and therefore they can rearrange there. Any way they will rearrange themselves, it doesn't matter. But that is where they belong. I believe that one we have understood.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Right. Let's go back to our entire data again. That is our entire data. Suppose I was to rearrange these data. That is, suppose I was to sort that data. I want to see my best client. Then I'll go to sort. This time I'm not filtering anybody, but I'll go to sort and sort from largest to smallest, for example. Then, as I had said, expand the selection so that John Miller will move where he deserves to be with the entire row. Sophia Davis will move up where she's supposed to be, and so forth. So that is how that is what will happen if I expand the selection. And you can see those who had blank entries are at the bottom. Good. Now, something else about missing value. If you can look at our data, we have some 2 missing values here. And we cannot guess their last purchase. Maybe they didn't purchase. They didn't purchase. And therefore, that information, or they are not, the blank cell will not add any value when we'll be looking for the, maybe we'll be analyzing last purchase. To avoid it giving us a hard time or a challenge while analyzing our data, as we had said, handling missing data, one of the ways of doing that is deleting. So suppose I was to delete this. How do I delete that? You can use that, the filter drop down, and then unselect the blank. Unselect the blank, and then okay. And now we don't have any missing value. We have discarded the 2 so that we remain with those who have values, who purchased. We are interested in those who purchased, not everyone. Thank you. Now, let's move on.
Excuse me, sir, I have a question.
Yes, kindly.
Okay. For the data cleaning technique, that's text to column. The first one you did where you separated the first name and the surname. When you deleted that, there's this, I'm trying to remember. There's this one where you deleted, where you selected duplicate. Did you delete like the whole 2 duplicates, or it was just one of those duplicates that was deleted?
When I deleted the blank entries.
No, not the blank entry. The one carrying the one with duplicate identity that had.
Yeah. Right. Yes, we had 2. If I can remember, we had 2 Brown, Michael Brown, and 2 Mary Brown. Yes, we had 2 Michael Brown and 2 Mary Brown. So we deleted 1 and retained 1 for each case. We deleted 1 Michael Brown and retained 1 Michael Brown. We deleted 1 Mary Brown and retained 1 Mary Brown. When you remove duplicates, it deletes 1 and retains 1. Or rather, it deletes all the others, all the other duplicates of the same number, of the same customer ID, or the same product ID, and retains 1 product ID or 1 customer ID. Have I answered you? Not yet.
Louisiana, do you get it?
Yes, I was trying to understand something. There are 2 options.
Mhm. Yes,
Hello?
yes.
Come again, you're not audible.
So can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I said while he was removing the duplicate, there were 2 options. One of them was it, if I'm not mistaken, expand something, and the other one was continue with. He said he was explaining something for that expand. He said
All
if
right.
we select expand, select continue.
All right, right. I've got you. I've got you. All right. Let me undo my data. Let me undo my data to some point here. All right. When we were sorting at this point, and we wanted to sort, or we sorted largest to smallest, and it brought this prompt: expand the selection and continue with the current selection. Now, expand the selection means that that entire row, we are referring to a row, the entire row will be moved together with the customer ID, the first name, the surname, and whatever other entry along that row to where he deserves, or that entry deserves to be. And therefore, there will be that interchanging of a position. Mary Brown may move up with everything about him or about her to somewhere, maybe the second row, while John Miller may move down with everything about him, the phone number, from the region, down to somewhere where he belongs to be, he deserves to be. But when we select continue, it means we will only sort last purchase column only. And therefore, we will assign John Miller a different value other than 50. We will assign John Miller the greatest value of last purchase, which he didn't, which is not the entry that, which is not his purchase. And therefore, we will have distorted our data. John Miller did not purchase 750, maybe. He only purchased 50. And therefore, that we cannot continue. At that particular point, we cannot continue. We will expand. I believe I have answered.
Do you get it now?
I understand. I do. I understand this particular explanation, but the one I'm asking is different. I think it has to do with duplicate, where he deleted duplicate data. I may be mixing it up, because when he was explaining this, yes, he mentioned something that if he clicked on something, it was going to take the whole duplicate. So it was going to delete everything out. And then if he clicks on the other option, it is going to take only one of those 2 duplicates. And then leave one of the...
Okay, yeah, I've got you again. Now, we say this: whenever you are removing duplicates, whenever you are checking on uniqueness of your data, we usually use those unique entries, unique identifiers. In fact, we call them unique identifiers. For example, you have an ID card, and that ID card number is unique for you. My ID card is unique for me. So if I want to check whether I have multiple ID numbers, or maybe I was captured several times in a database, they will use ID number to check, did this ID appear again? And therefore, you will select only the unique identifier column and remove the duplicates within that column. But if we happen to remove duplicates on this column, then it means we will only be left with only 4 regions. That is South, East, North, and West. But we have, these ones are not, we cannot refer them to as duplicates as such, because each one comes from a particular region. And therefore, this is where I was saying, you cannot use those other columns that do not have unique entry for removing duplicates. For instance, we cannot say remove duplicates on column F. Then we'll be left with only 150 and 50 last purchase 50. Now where will the other members will lack their last purchase? That one, we don't consider it as duplicates. We consider it as entries. But in such a case of custom ID, is a duplicate. If you have Emma Jones 1002 and another 1002, maybe Emma Jones again or 1002 assigned to a different person, then that is a duplicate. Okay, I think that one is understood. Let me believe so. All right, isn't it?
Lucy, do you get that?
I was cut out of the call, but I just logged in. I would rewatch the video. Then, if I have any other question, I'll ask for the next class.
Yeah, feel free. Feel free to do that.
It's all right.
All right. All right.
All right, so let's continue.
I was putting my laptop to the charge so that it does not shut down. All right, now we are moving on to other we have other data, other functions that we use to also to clean and to shape our data. So we have other functions that we usually use to clean our data, sometimes to shape our data. And this one includes now function formula. We have formula. And one of the most common formula is the if function. We call it the if function. Now, the if function enables logical tests to return different value based on whether a condition is met. And this one is the best when you are doing categorization. You want to categorize. We will do it. Let's go to our data so that we do it. The if function. You may be working with a supermarket, for instance, or a shop, and you may want to monitor the stock in your store. So you can create such an if function to monitor that stock. When the stock is running out, the system will tell you you are running out of stock. When the stock has depleted completely, it will tell you you do not have anything in your store about this product. When you have restocked and you have met the minimum stock that you require for your sales, then the system will inform you you have enough stock, etc. The same, we can also use it here. Let's use it here. The if function. We want to categorize our customers based on their last purchase and see who is our best customer. Our maybe we middle one will categorize them and say upcoming customer, and maybe another customer that need our attention, so that whenever they purchase products, we can know who is upcoming, who is our best customer. Maybe we want to award them, or we want to send them a congratulatory mail, etc. And then we also have those who we need to make a follow-up. So these are we write an if function. You can have a long if function or just a short if function with the two arguments. So let's have it. Any Excel formula starts with an equal sign. So, and it doesn't matter where you will put it. I can even put it here, where we have a blank. And I know we don't have any information there, but we'll use that. So it doesn't matter where you write your formula, so long as you refer to a particular cell within that column, still it will give you it will give you an outcome. So let's put it here. Anywhere there is equals to if, and you can see it has suggested the if for you. We have if error, if NA, if S. Then, but we are interested in if function. It checks whether a condition is met and returns one value if true and another value if false. So double click on it to open. It gives you an opening parenthesis, and then now you write your logic. Now we are referring to a particular cell. We want to refer to this cell here. This cell is F12. But instead of reading manually, you can just click on it. That is cell F12. If F12 happens to be greater or equal to. Now let's start from the largest value. Our target was 700, and it happens there are some of our customers who made their last purchase was above 700. So let's work with 700. If F12 happens to be greater or equal to 700, then what happens? In SpeechMark, report that our excellent customer, oh, sorry. Right. Otherwise, I want you to note these commas. Otherwise. And now, mark Q, it is important that you keep checking your formula here on the formula bar, because at this point, you may reach the end of your Excel sheet according to the size of your screen, and then your argument goes to the next line, and now it starts confusing. Are you referring to which particular cell are you referring to? We refer to that particular cell all through. So our argument is if F12 happens to be greater or equal to 700, then say excellent customer. Otherwise, if I've continued, if the same point happens to be greater or equal to say 500, then say upcoming customer. Else if that condition, okay, let's continue one more. Otherwise, if I can see we had 250 years. If the same point here happens to be greater or equal to 200, then say need follow-up, needs follow-up. Just write that way, needs follow-up, but I can even space out here. Needs follow-up. Then now I want to close. So I'll say otherwise, or if all those conditions are not met, then maybe say make a visit, and then speech marks, and then now let's count how many brackets did we open. 1, 2, 3. We open 3 brackets, so we'll close 4 brackets. But we open how many? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, we'll close 3 brackets. Now after that, you can click enter, and it will give you a comment for that particular cell. If you drag it or autofill, whichever way you will do it, it will give you the comments with respect to the formula. So you can see those who got 750 were referred as excellent customers. Those who got 250 were referred as needs a follow-up. But those who got 50 and below, we need to make a visit. And maybe this one, I would have even referred to this one who has a blank. I would have said, yeah, maybe we need to market. Maybe marketing is needed. So that is one way you can use your if function to categorize. We can now categorize. We have now known we have those customers who are upcoming, those customers who are excellent, and those customers who need to be visited, maybe, and those customers who need to be followed up so that their purchase may increase. There are so many other ways you can use if function, so many of them. You can use it to grade. You can use it to comment the way we have commented. You can use it to return a null or a value depending on your argument. I believe that one is okay. Are we still there?
Yes. Yes, sir.
I will become that, Mr. David. Go on, or members. There's a lot of silence.
Yes, I'm with you. We are listening.
All right. So let's move on to the next 2, and we call it a day. Or thank you. I've seen.
Is everyone getting it?
Yes.
All right.
All right. Thank you. So
yeah.
Right. We have the VLOOKUP. VLOOKUP and the sister HLOOKUP are two functions that are used to search for a value in one of, for example, VLOOKUP is called vertical lookup. Searches for a value in the first column of a table and returns the value from a specified column in the same row. And this one is essential for merging data. The sister, also called HLOOKUP, horizontal lookup, does almost similar to VLOOKUP, but now this one searches on data in a horizontal table, in a table that is arranged in a horizontal way. So let's do a VLOOKUP and see how we can use it in merging data. So let's go back here. All right. I want us to do it somewhere. All right. I want to see. Okay, let's first of all do a simple one here. I want to maybe I didn't check, but I want to check what comment did we give? Did we give customer ID? Customer ID. For example, I want to see which customer ID 1005. What comment did we give customer ID 1005? Suppose this comment is hidden, or it's not on this particular one, on this particular table. So we can use a VLOOKUP. This data is arranged in vertical columns. So we will do is equals to VLOOKUP. So the minute you start typing, it will suggest for you VLOOKUP. And now we have this suggestion down here. Lookups for a value. So what value are we looking out for? We are looking for value. Now, let me not even pick 1005, which is along that row. Let us pick a different one. I want you to mark, we are looking for the comment of Sophia Williams. So I'll click on it. What comment was given to that 1013? Customer 1013. Then, comma, to separate. Then where are you referring to? I'm referring on this table. This is where I want to look for the comment. This is where in that particular range of cells is where I'll find my comment. Then, comma, where is the comment? In which column is our comment? Now we count the columns from our left. A, B, C, D is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So our comments are found on column 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let me do it as you see. This is our first column. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, 7. Sorry. So it's on column 7. That is where our comments are found. So we will write 7. We want to check the comment given to 1013 where the comment is on column 7. And then comma. Now, what do you want to return? Is it approximate match or an exact match? We want an exact match, the way it is. So we will click on exact match. And then you close the bracket and enter. So check whether the comment given to 1013, was it 10? Yeah, 1013 is excellent customer. Yes, it is. That is VLOOKUP. Now, this one is a simple because we have done it on the same sheet. Sometimes you may want to refer to some sheet away. Maybe we are talking about, we are here and we want to check what comment was given to John Miller. And the comments are on the comments are found on sheet 1. Still, you can do it. You'll go to your sheet 2. Let me move it to here. You'll go to your sheet 2. Then you write your VLOOKUP here is equals to VLOOKUP. And then you follow the procedure. Now here, we want to check this one, comma, and then you go to sheet 1 and select that. Then we go back to, oh, right, okay, I've not selected everything, but it's okay. Then comma, our comment was on column 7, comma, exact. Oh, sorry, it returns a 0. That's why the challenge comes in. Okay, I will still do it again. All right, so we want to have a VLOOKUP here, VLOOKUP. Then we want to talk about that. What comment was given, or maybe they don't tally. That's what the reason. Yeah, they tally. It's okay. A2. Okay. Right. So on sheet 2. You can look at the formula bar above there. So that's where I'm writing, but if I go here, make a visit. Already it is finished. Oh, sorry, is it? Wait. Yes, already it has finished. It has just finished. So make a visit. According to this is make a visit. This is the formula. The VLOOKUP that has looked at sheet 1 for a comment for John Miller, and we have realized that John Miller, we need to make a visit. If we go back to sheet 1, we'll realize it's a make a visit. So with this, we can also populate to the others. We can also populate for others, and we can see that it will still return. It has looked up for the comments from sheet 1 to sheet 2. So that is how you can use a VLOOKUP, and also the HLOOKUP. They are similar. The difference is one is for vertical, the other one is for horizontal. Right. We have others, such as trim text. I want now to highlight on those others. Trim text. Now, trimming text here means removing all leading and trailing spaces from a text. During the data entry, the data clerk may put some spaces before starting to type inside the cell. So those leading spaces or trailing spaces, we remove them using the is equals to trim, and then you select that text. That cell that has that text that you want to trim, and it will remove those spaces before and after. We have length. In a case of phone numbers, in a case of ID numbers, numbers that strings that have a known number of characters, it is prudent to use to check on the actual number of characters in that text, so that you don't find someone has entered more than required or less than required. Though we can also use, if it happens that you realize you have extra characters or less characters, then you can use the len text, that is length text. It will give you, this one has this number of characters, this one has this less number of characters, etc. We have text convert value to text in specific number format, ideal for standardizing dates and numbers. For standardizing dates, I want to show you an example of this one because it is very important. This one is very key. We usually use it time and again. For instance, let me put a date here. For instance, you happen to have a something like this. Let me put it how. Something like today's 17th. All right, American is 9th, then 17th, then 2025. That's the American format. Now you want to put it in a way that maybe someone else will understand it better. So I will say text is equals to text. There you go. Then we are referring to this particular cell, comma, and we want it to look like this. DD dash mm dash YY. Now, why you put 4 of them? So that it represents the year, and then you close the bracket.
Yeah,
you close the box, and then you close, and then enter.
Your M is 3. Okay, it's works.
Yeah, it's for short form. But if I wanted a long form, then I would have done 4 of them. So like that. So that if I enter, now I have 17th September 2025. Sometimes you may come across such and you want to standardize your data into something that is easily readable. Then that is how you can use the text to data, to standardize your data. We also have others such as substitute. This one substitutes
Please
or
wait.
replace.
Mr. Robert,
Yes.
before you go on, somebody want you to recap on trim.
Okay, trim.
Yes.
Right. Yeah, I'm here. So this is the cell that we have information on, and I'm starting to type. I'm about to type, but before I type, I happen to put some spaces like that. I have some spaces. You can see my cursor has moved an indent into the cell, and then I typed here Kenya, and then thereafter I happen to put another space. So when I move to the next cell where I want to trim, you can see my Kenya is not left aligned or right aligned. It's somewhere, and it's not even centered aligned. So it is somewhere hanging. There is some leading spaces and trailing spaces. So if you want to clean that, you will put an equal sign and then trim. There you go. You're trimming that. You're trimming that. And you close. And there you go. So you can see Kenya now is clean, does not have leading spaces or trailing spaces. Is it right now?
Do you get it?
So please, I have a question.
Yes, come up.
Please, is there a way we can, if like for that Kenya now, if you want to trim, is there a way we can trim it to be accurate on the same column, or we have to trim it in another column?
You have to trim it on another column. After you have trimmed it from on another column, now you can delete. You can either hide or delete the edition.
All right.
Yeah. Thank you. Maybe we do this one. Let us do this one also. I'll insert another column here. Maybe we wanted to have these comments here.
Yeah.
Or
Sorry,
maybe
before you go
yes.
on,
Yes.
somebody is asking, what if we have multi-columns or multi-rows that needs to be trimmed? What if there are multiple text to trim? Okay, the same thing you just do, then you autofill for the rest. Does that make sense?
Okay, come up again. Kindly come up
Mary,
again.
do you do that?
I didn't get your question.
Okay, let me just ask the question. Somebody in the text is saying, oh, okay. Somebody is saying, what of if there are multiple texts to trim?
Oh, right. Okay. All right. That's all right. I've got you.
Right.
Mhm.
Yes, and we are coming to the end of this class.
All right. Okay. In that case, maybe I'll respond to it next class, because now I have to come up with an example so that we can trim it together.
Okay, you can go on. Then before we close the class, we'll come back to her. Does that make sense?
Yes.
All right. Please, let's go ahead.
Still on the same issue of trimming, we have a formula, a function called left, mid, right. Left, mid, or right. For example, we may want to retain a given number. Maybe, for example, let's have this. Let me put here. Let me put something like this. Nairobi 2025. And it comes to my understanding that I don't need the entire Nairobi 2025. I only want Nairobi alone. The 2025, maybe I want to move it to another column, to a different column. And you see this one, we don't have, we cannot use text to column because we don't have the space to separate them, or a comma or anything to separate them. Then at this particular point, we can use this one, we called the left. So is equals to left,
Right.
then into bracket, we refer to that. And then how many characters does Nairobi have? Nairobi has 7 characters. So we'll put comma, 7, and then we close, then enter. And we remain with Nairobi. That is left. You start counting from the left 7 characters. Where the 7 character ends, it trims up to that particular point. Now, we can still do the same for 2025. Suppose we wanted 2025 on a different row or column. So we'll say is equals to right. We start counting from the right. Sorry. And then we are referring to that cell, comma, and 4. And 4. So that we have 2025. So we have separated Nairobi and 25, where we could not have used text to column using the left and right. And in the case of mid is where you select the mid part of your data or your entry. Maybe Robbie. I want only Robbie. Then you use mid. Lastly, I was talking about substitute. Substitute. We can also substitute. For instance, I have something like this: 0725 dash 336 dash 996. But when you want to do an analysis, you realize these dashes are some characters that cannot be analyzed, and therefore you want a clean data. You want just, let's have a clean number on the other side. So you will say is equals to substitute. Here we have it, and then we are referring to this particular cell. That cell, comma, and now this time round we want it to be from these, from that to that. And then I will close my bracket and enter. Therefore, I have a clean data. So those are some of the most basic data cleaning toolkits that you'll come across or you need to practice so that you can handle data, large volumes of data easily and while enjoying doing data cleaning. Thank you so much for being there for that lesson, and back to David.
All right. Thank you, Robert. That's a great one. I want to believe everyone enjoyed the time.
I believe so. I believe so.
Yes, sir. Yes, I did. Thank you, sir.
All right. So that's really a great one. Okay. So for the person who's looking to understand what to do when you have multiple text to trim, I hope you know how to do it now. Okay, so let me get a response to that before I go on. It's Mary, are you still with us? Okay, you get it now. That's cool. All right, so you also asked what is autofill. Okay. Mr. Robert, please open your Excel again. Let me see if I have mine. Okay. Please show us your Excel. Please pick any cell. Okay. Can you see? That's okay. Can you see that Excel that is highlighted there? Okay, thank you. Can you see the plus sign at the very bottom of the cell? Please, you can mute your mic so I'll know you are with me. I want you to get this one in particular. Okay. So that right corner, every time your cursor gets there, it turns to plus. Now, if there's any formula, any solution at all that you have created on that particular column, when you select any cell on that column and you bring your cursor to that side of the cell, there are two options for you to get an autofill. It's either you click on it and you drag it to the end where you want it to autofill for you, like that. The next option there is to double click it. Once it turns to plus like that, you double click it. Did you see that? Are you getting that? Very good. So that's how you get your autofill. So Excel has made it so simple that if there's any solution you're looking for and you cannot get it, once you start typing, it will give you idea, it will give you prompts that help you know where you are going. And if you solve any problem on a particular row, you don't have to solve it in all of the rows before you can solve it there. Just click on that cell for that row and double tap the autofill button, and then everything will fill for you. And that way you can solve a million problems just by solving one. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, so far so good. It's been an interesting time and I wouldn't want to keep us here any longer. It's been wonderful. Your assignment will also come into the group. It will come to the classroom. So please, if you are here and I've not added you to the Google Classroom, kindly send a notification on the WhatsApp group so I can get your email and add you back. From my end, I believe I've added everybody, but if you have not seen yourself, I may have to re-add you. So make an attempt to make sure we get to know that you are not in that classroom so we can add you up. So your assignment will come from there, and then you can start working around stuff like this. For those of you who have data from your office, data from anywhere that you have, you can start practicing with those data. But one thing you should do, if it's your office data, make sure you copy it to somewhere before you start working on it, right? So you don't mess the data up. You copy it somewhere then before you start working on it. That is, you keep the original. Okay, so start practicing. And also, I want us to make posts about these things on our LinkedIn. It's very important. It's our second day, and you can tell already if there are values in this for you or not. And so if you have been gaining one or two things since we started, I need you to start making a post about it. Tag Smart Edge Consulting and Analytics, and we'll be there to respond, to like, and to also share your post. So let people know about your journey. Let people see your growth journey. Let people see what you're doing, right? It's a great thing, and it's interesting to know that you're learning something. And it's not sufficient for you to know that you're learning. Other people out there also need to know that you're learning. Your promotion might be dependent on this. The next level you're looking for might just be dependent on it. So please take that action, and we'll be watching. All right, until Friday again, before we meet. So before that Friday, make sure you're working on everything we have learned together. And on Friday, we meet again to conclude everything about Excel. So by that time, you should be able to create chart on Excel, see how to visualize on Excel. So, and all those fancy things that you see when some people make presentation in your department, your place of work, on TV, on the internet, you also can see how it is being done, and you can also do something like that. And with that said, I'll say we have come to the end of today's class. And in the next few minutes, if you have anything to say, any question, any clarity that you need, now is the time to say it before we wrap this up. Okay, I will take that as everybody being clear and that we all are on the same page. All right, guys, until we meet again on Friday. Enjoy the rest of the week. Have a good night, everyone. Right, Mr. Robert, that was a great one. Thank you so much. Susie, thank you for making it. Abdurrahman, are you still there? Thank you so much. And all the students also, I just want to say, okay, a lot of people left already. Thank you so much for making it. We're open to your questions.
All right,
anything you have. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joseph.
Thank you so much. Have a wonderful evening.
Yes, thank you, everyone.
Right.
Thank you, ma. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma.
All right. Thank you. Thank you all. Have a good night.